Angela, we have an amazing guest here today.
We have an amazing, inspiring, empowering guest with us here today. This is my friend Colette. Yes.
I first met Colette at our dinner that we had,
Yes.
celebrating some of our most successful stories here in the office, and was blown away at hearing the couple minutes of transformation that you've been through on many different levels. But I'm excited to dig in a little bit more deeply and hear a lot more about what you've got going on and kind of everything that's been happening.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Sure.
So where do we want to start?
Let's start. Talk to me about the day you walked into this office.
Yes.
And you and I sat down together.
Well, what brought me here is I had just left my job, and the job that I'd had for 23 years. So it really defined a lot about myself. And so I had been working with a coach, and she recommended that I really flip, where I was spending my time. And one of those was to take care of myself. So some of your Facebook posts and other things were really hitting at the right time.
Wow.
So I came to see you, and I walked in, and I just felt this instant connection of this is going to work. That this is going to work. I don't know how to describe it, because I'm somebody that has tried lots of other things, over the years, and I just felt like that it was going to work. And then we had our conversation of what I was trying to achieve. And I talked to you about really wanting to find the woman that I was, And it was more about, not for vanity's sake or anything like that, but really just that woman was tenacious, and she was, able to do lots of different things. And so when you leave your career that defines you, a lot of what you want to do, I really needed to redefine myself. And so it was the right time for me to work on myself.
Wow.
And you, just I'm sure many centuries from now, they'll figure out what connects us,
right?
And what doesn't connect us,
right?
For people that you walk in, and you're like, okay, thumbs down. This is not going.
Energy vampire.
Yes, exactly. And so, but you're not an energy vampire.
Oh, no.
You're completely the opposite. And so I felt like, after opening up to you, that it was something that was really good, and good things were going to come from opening up and being so raw with you. And I felt like I was meeting an expert who was going to guide me in the things that I don't know and how to do that. So anyway,
So there's a lot there that you just went through. Before we get, so one question that I really prompted. So you're working with your coach.
Yes.
So is that a coach that, why do you have a coach? Is that something that was work related, or is that something that you sought out on your own? And talk through some of that.
Sure. My coach, her name is Judy, and she was retired from the company where I worked. And I knew that I was going to need somebody to really coach me on searching for, a job, what I wanted to do in my career, what did I want to do next. And so I sought her. Okay. She's retired and was doing this executive coaching.
Okay.
And so I hired her to really take me through some of those steps. And because she knew me, and I also knew she's super qualified. She was, at the company where I worked, she was head of global HR. Mm-hmm. So super talented, uber talented woman. That I knew that it wouldn't be, it was somebody I already had trust, I already had a good relationship with.
And you were high-level executive. Talk to us about what you were doing.
Sure. I was the senior vice president and controller of a large chemical company that's headquartered here in Columbus. And so it was a global job, lots of stress. Mm-hmm. And I worked all the time. I
Right.
worked all the time because my team, being global, there really wasn't times that they were off.
Right.
And so, and I didn't want it to feel like that the people could only connect with their boss or their boss's boss in their nighttime. And so that meant I was on phone calls at night, phone calls on Sundays, nighttime, all early morning. The way I normally operated is I would get up really early in the morning, I'd check to see what had happened overnight in China that I had missed,
Right.
and then what was going on in Europe that I needed to make sure that they got what they needed before I got in the car. And so, and then, a very busy day.
Right.
And so,
And it became your identity.
yes.
It that literally became every piece of who you knew yourself to be.
That's right.
So what this was a saving you back to you.
That's right. And the other thing that I had gone through that in 2021, I lost my sister, and it's my twin sister, my identical twin sister. She was so much my identical twin sister that I could open up her iPhone with my face. Yeah. And so, COVID was, it had many, many terrible, terrible parts about it. But the blessing, I was able to work and from there and care for her in the final few months of her life. And just seeing her, and it was cancer. And so, and seeing what that did to her and everything else, that was the other thing, that was a turning point of, I gotta take care of my health so that if something happens to me, I can take care of myself at the best any of us can, because you don't know what your timing is and what your day is. But anyway, and so that obviously was hugely impactful, and a real turning point that I wanted to not just use this time period when I was leaving my job. I wanted to really, really redefine myself, because I was just on a treadmill. I would tell people that it was like being on a North track, that you just, you move, but you're not going anywhere.
Right. It's almost like being on autopilot, and you're never really fully engaging until you have those moments that, like you said, those life-defining moments where I'm going to be so present and where I am and who I'm with and what I'm doing in our conversation.
Exactly.
Because really, when it all falls away, that's all that matters in this whole life.
That's exactly right. And we all go through it, but burying a loved one is very, you really, really understand it. You put all your possessions and other things into perspective, because you're like, it doesn't matter. Closets get emptied, drawers are gone, and possessions are redistributed wherever they're redistributed, whether it's to charity and other things to do good for other people, but they're meaningless. And so and I grew up in a small town, and so just to speak a little bit about my twin sister Courtney, she was a super, super dynamo person. She was an attorney, and she was city attorney, and she was, her obituary was almost 2 pages. Of all the things that she had accomplished. She was just a wonderful human being. And she was very much loved by her whole community. And so before I came to see you, it was also good because I spent about 2 or 3 weeks in my hometown. And the nice part about doing something like that is, and being reconnected with the people from the early part of your life, is this is a nice reminder that they don't even know what I did. Most of them are like, yeah, you live in Ohio, right? Yeah, in Ohio. And then they'll ask you things like, you were in finance, right? Oh, yeah. So all of the things that I defined myself in my bubble here, they didn't really matter. They didn't really matter to people who were important to me for a very large part of my life and people who will be important to me for the rest of my life. And so it was, so anyway, so all that was just sort of just to give you an idea of what I was walking in with
Right.
to see you.
Right.
So when you went through, so a couple of these big events have happened, right? All kind of culminating in the last, what period of time?
I came to see Angela. I started the program in January of this year. So
Okay, so almost a full year.
almost a full year.
Okay, so when you were kind of going down this path of, okay, ready to make some changes and all these life events happening, were you intentionally redefining or defining the direction and path that you wanted to go? Or was it kind of like, I just know I need to make some changes and like
Yeah.
what did that look like?
I know I needed to make some changes, but I really felt like I was being guided by my sister. And so I was being guided by my sister that she had a hand into giving me sort of setting up the things for the wake up call of, okay, this is a great time. You know, if you end up leaving the company, it's don't see it as a bad thing. It's a good thing, and you're going to turn this in, and you're going to seize these moments. So I really feel like that there are things that you know, I'm a believer in that you believe in you know, is it manifesting? Is it whatever it is? But I just believe I was having the right energy and had the right mindset to be found. You know,
I do know what you mean.
you know what I mean? To be found.
I do.
And so to come in with that and then to find you. And so I think that's what made it where that connection, it was like, this is gonna work. Yeah. So yeah.
So tell us the physical, what has changed over the last years.
Sure.
You know, in whatever areas you want to share.
Sure. I did the chirothin and the red light therapy. And I've done 2 sessions of those. And when I first came here, I had, so I've lost, 80 pounds. I've gained a lot of mobility, to where walking upstairs, doing different daily tasks are not painful. And then, and I could tell the difference from the first time that I used the red light therapy. I came in, I don't know if, because you probably hear this so many times from lots of your patients, but I came in and I said, wow, I just feel clear. Yeah. And so it was so strange, to have that feeling of, you're sitting here in January, it's gloomy Ohio, and to feel like how you would feel on a beautiful summer day. And so it's kind of, it was really weird. And so I walked in and I even felt better that this was the right choice after doing that. Right. And so I would meet with Angela, talk through all my many, stumbling blocks along the way, and she would whip out some other advice to help me when I would meet roadblocks, whether that was going to a celebratory dinner with my husband. What are some things to eat so that you can be a part and you don't feel like you're denying yourself of enjoying celebration events, and then any other things that I had roadblocks along the way.
Yes, we were really working on, it's funny because when we talk about infrared, I was like, we're going to be liberating toxicity. I mean, that's really what we're doing. And you had an experience where your body had gone through so much cleansing. And honestly, if we're going to deprive anything, we were depriving some living microorganisms of their space, right? and this is something we don't talk about a lot, but it does happen often because the way that you were eating was very anti-inflammatory. We weren't feeding pathogenic microorganisms. And so all of a sudden, as a result of you depriving them of their sources, some of those things started to show up for you, right?
Yes.
Do you feel comfortable talking about that?
I don't know if comfortable with that. comfortable for that because it wasn't very comfortable. Angela, you can remember me calling you, sending you something on the app.
Yes.
I'm like, help, I need to talk to you.
You need to hang out.
And I'm sitting in the parking lot of urgent care. This was kind of frightening. And so, but there were lots of signals that I could see that my body, not just of feeling a little bit more clarity, mobility, and then weight loss. There was definitely that,
Yes.
and of losing toxins, but also just my skin.
Right.
Weird things like most people have a dry, itchy elbow.
Mhm.
Nope, we don't have that. And then, or your feet have scaly feet, other things like that. I could see that my skin all over my body, my knees, everything else were all just repairing themselves. So it was nice to see just the healing
Yes.
that happens.
Yes.
And we talked about this, just the power that you get reacquainted with, that your body has to heal itself.
Yes.
So anyway, so I found it wasn't overnight, but it happened. And then by the time I got to, the summer, the summer months of I could feel real differences in my skin.
Yes.
And
It's
so,
fantastic. And you did along the way, you did a parasitic purge.
I
Your
did.
your body did a parasitic offload, which was also amazing. So you talk about like the path that your body wants to take you down as you lean into it, the power of healing. That's where that path also allowed
Yes.
the release of all of that too,
Yes.
which was fantastic.
yeah.
It was scary. And so,
Yeah.
I tell people this is usually the part when people just totally break up with me or they ghost me. Like, we're done after the parasite conversation. But it's a real thing.
It is a real thing.
And after going through it, and yes, the onset being scary, but also being quite relieving after being able to work all that out.
Yes, and you start to, because you research these things and then other things start popping up, you start to find out that, there's a lot of ways that this can be introduced into your body, and that just make it that you just can't ignore, and it's got to be out there for so many people. It just has to be.
Right? It is for so many people, and you're right about the ignoring. It's almost, that's not an option anymore. You and I talked about that. Oh, there comes a time where ignoring it or not looking at this is no longer an option.
That's right.
You have to see what you need to see. So
That's right.
obviously. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. And it's something that you have to deal with, and it's something that you have to just accept, like any other toxin.
Right.
Like any other toxin that happens in your body, whether it's, if your house has any other toxins that it's letting off or other things like that, that you need to be cleansing that from your body.
So good.
So anyway, yes. Yes, that is true. I'm just sitting in a parking lot. So that is something that you do, is you give a safe space to have some pretty awkward conversations and things that you're seeing as your body is going through this transformation.
That's right.
So
What are some of the big key takeaways that you've learned about your health and yourself over this last year?
that you're stronger than you think you are. That you're stronger than you think you are, and that one of the things, and I talked about this at the dinner in a sort of joking way, of figuring out ways to accommodate the diet. So, my husband's not following the diet, so I use this term, and we have a great marriage. We've been married 25, 26 years. So I said we divorced ourselves from eating together. And so he's a late night eater. I'm like, I can't do that. And then so we do the things that you enjoy about eating together. He'll visit and I'll visit with him when he eats. So we still do that, but I felt that to make this work, I needed to eat what I wanted to eat, and I needed to eat when I wanted to eat. And so that was something. I thought meal prepping was important, especially early on. As I got more comfortable with what I was going to eat and everything else like that, but meal prepping was important because I felt that when I got my little prepared, I bought these meal prep trays that had just little sections in for your food, and so that helps me with getting the right amount of portions. It helped me to make sure that I had everything, so that I wasn't sitting there looking in the groceries or in the refrigerator and I didn't have what I needed. And so I would prep my meals, and then I felt real. And I don't know if it's the mental part too, because I ate everything, and then I felt like I felt good, like I had. It really is true that if you eat a balanced diet, and you're eating a balanced diet, your body's like, that was good.
I feel satisfied.
I feel satisfied. That was good.
Yeah.
So it is important. You don't want to skip one of the food groups. Because if you skip one of the food groups, your body's going to tell you need something else, and you're likely to pick something bad for you because you don't know what that is, the signal, and so you'll start just eating a bunch of stuff. And so I found that it was just I don't know, transformative of just figuring out, like, duh, if you eat what you're supposed to and you eat all of the food groups, your body's going to go, that yum, that's good, I feel good, and I feel good. And then you're going to get up and you're going to feel good, and then you're also going to be able to see food, be around food, I love to watch cooking shows. We talked about that.
Yes.
I love to watch cooking shows, and you don't feel anything. You're just enjoying it. You're enjoying the competition. You're enjoying whatever yummy recipe they're doing, but you're not sitting there feeling deprived.
Right.
You don't. And I thought I would. I thought I would be sitting there and basically feeling, denied all the time, or an outsider of, I can't do this, I can't have that, I can't go do this, and
a lacking mentality.
Yeah, and that's not how I felt. That's not how I felt about it. I felt good about what I was doing. I felt good. My body felt good, and I could be around, other foods and not feel deprived. It just felt fine.
Yes.
So I just felt, and so that was new for me, because that's not something that on other programs I felt. And then the other thing, and I think this is the power of doing the red light therapy meeting with you, is I also, something that was different on this particular program, is I could visualize myself.
Yes.
I could visualize myself being successful. And the other times, I don't think I had that vision. So I feel like I was just marching through time to get to that self. So, so we'll see.
That self that you are. The self and that is what the day you came in, and I want you to tell it because you tell it so much better than I could ever tell it, but it just made the hairs on the back of my head stand up. And you said what you did was...
Yes. Well, and you can elaborate if there's anything else to add that I missed, but I just felt powerful. I felt in control.
Yes.
I felt that power of, the power of, I had control of what I was doing.
Yes.
And I had the power of, that my body was healing itself. And I just felt like it was going to take time. And I shared this with you, is, I've gone through my annual checkups, I've gotten all my blood work, everything is everything is in normal range.
Yes.
Even so much that I even went and, for my life insurance, there's 3 different rates that you can have. And there's the standard, there's the middle, and then there's the ultra. And I went and did my blood work and they put me in there. And so that saved me, that saved me thousands. And so of dollars just in my rate.
Yes.
Just in my rate. So there's, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So people have
So
to
it
tell
paid
me.
for itself.
It paid for itself. It paid for itself. Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So,
Oh my gosh, if we talk about power and people say, okay, so what is this power? What does this mean to own my power? Like, and how do we do that? And I think that when we talk about power, it's honestly owning, it's accepting, it's being your most authentic, vulnerable, honest self. And when we own our strengths, which you were really good at owning strengths, that I do know, owning the fears and owning the vulnerability and knowing that all had its place in all of this, to unapologetically move out there with who you already are, all of it.
right.
No matter what that
Right.
looked like,
That's right.
without judgment.
That's right.
And that's power.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's intoxicating power.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And it's really, I consider the power to be like, when you're driving your car, you're in full control of that vehicle. You're making decisions where you're going and other particular pieces. And so I felt like I was the driver in the driver's seat. And so, and every day was not easy. No, every day was not easy, but I still felt like I had the pathway to, do with that what I will. And so I felt like that, and it's just a nice place to feel mentally, to feel that control. To feel that control and to feel that power. And to me, I think that's one of the biggest gifts that this whole process has given me. And I've got a ways to go. I'm nowhere at my point of, of where I want to be. But this is the journey that I'm on, that I feel like I'm just in such a better place mentally to enjoy, I'm 55. And so to enjoy enjoy this.
The afternoon of your life.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, anyway, so thank you. I'm so grateful that I responded and came in here and found you. And just thank you for being the type of person that you are. And, because you meet a lot of people who are super educated and they have all the knowledge, but for whatever reason, maybe they're a little bit of a jerk or they've got other particular things. They don't have a way to pull that knowledge out and give to their patients and for their patients to follow them. And so you have that gift of being able to do that, of being able to not only, are you knowledgeable about what you need to do, but you can actually tell people and they'll do it. That's hard. That's a gift. That's a gift.
This connection is a gift.
No.
Yes.
No. But anyway, I just thank you for that. And I found all of our sessions, just really, really helpful for me. And I felt like, however raw I had to be, opening it up to you was, you were gonna, give me some sprinkles out of all your things that you know how to do. Oh God. Like, Angela, I'm not losing weight above my navel. And you're like, well, that's why. I'm like, oh, okay, great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
This has just been, I can't wait to share this with the whole rest of the world.
But yes, you guys are great. And so I also did the Insella share.
Yes.
And
Oh my
so-
gosh, we'll have to do like a whole other podcast on that, right?
Yeah, and that was great too.
Awesome.
That's exciting.